Have you ever tried the blue light blocking glasses? Do they work for you?
I've never tried it, mate. Never.
No. I got two pairs. You can have a pair. Try them out. They don't do nothing for me.
I've had really good feedback from clients on them.
Have you really? That's interesting.
Maybe there's like a certain type that's better than others. To be honest, we just need to turn our phones off, don't we? Like an hour before bed, but that's never going to happen. So,
I was going to ask, have you ever had any success with saying to someone, put the phone down 2 hours before bed? Because I say that all the time and none.
No, you can't. Let's be honest. You can say it as much as you like, but people are busy. They want to scroll through their phone at bedtime. Let's get them sorted with some other habits. Well. I'm going to take these up. These were like $6.99 from Amazon, to be fair. Do nothing. They don't even block out the sun.
Well, that's a good segue, seeing as we are doing 3 tips to better sleep today. However, before we do it, I think we should just comment on last week's episode that went out.
Yeah, I think we just want to say a big thank you to everyone who gave us some nice messages of support, messages about the podcast, which was actually really good to hear because it means people were listening. And yeah, I think just thank you for generally being positive about it.
Yeah, for me, it was kind of humbling to see not only the downloads, the streams, the views on you, like just the amount of people that shared it, just on a social media perspective. I started off on, I think it was the Saturday or the Sunday, I can't remember which day it was we made it live. It was Saturday, wasn't it? I started off reposting the people that were sharing it. And within a couple of hours, I was like, I can't keep doing this because people are going to get annoyed. There was so many of them. There was people who I haven't seen or spoken to in years that were sharing like the stuff that we did. And just from me, wow, thank you guys. Thank you very, very, very much for supporting our little project.
Yeah, thank you. And that leads us on to today's podcast, which is going to be our 3 tips for better sleep. So, Ben, what you got?
All right. First one we're going to run with is something I was set, actually. Tip number 1, I bought a coaching plan, I think in about 2007, 2006, something around there. And I've seen it regurgitated a dozen times since then in different plans. And the best way I've ever had it presented to me was the following. Before you go to bed, before you even get into bed, give us between 8 and 10 minutes of stretching. So what that's going to do is it's going to calm the body and trigger what we know as the parasympathetic recovery. It's really going to calm us down. It's going to be triggering that sort of rest and digest mentality as opposed to fight and flight. Give us a better night's sleep. Just put us in the zone for chill. Between 8 and 10 minutes. There's the key. So we're giving you an out. You could do 8 minutes. We would rather you did 10.
And would you recommend a specific type of stretching, like following like a yoga class maybe, or any stretches?
No, literally anything. Anything. I give people on a link to a playlist on my YouTube, which has got about 20 stretches on it. But I think the key for stretching is don't rush it. I think you need to look at, if you're going to do a stretch, we need to hold it for a good amount of time, whether that is 90 seconds, 2 minutes. I think people getting into a quad stretch and stretching it to 10 seconds, I don't think you're doing a lot, personally, myself. Very important for us to state, though, if anything does hurt at any point, stop straight away. If you get any of those red flags, numbness, tingling, shooting sensations, burning, loss of bladder or bowel function, stop straight away. Don't try and push through anything. You know, less isn't necessarily more if it feels uncomfortable. But it's something that is probably if I could pick like a couple of things, just a small couple of things to implement in the majority of people's lives, that would be the one that I've had the most success with people in. And it's got to the point now where I'm giving that to 9 out of 10 people that I coach. 8 to 10 minutes. So easy. It's so easy not to do. I mean, you're a busy guy. Do you feel that's achievable? Would you be able to get that in?
Yeah, I could do it just before bed. I think like you've already switched down for the day. So, yeah, I would see no reason why I couldn't find the time to do that. I always tell people to stretch and I never do. So it's actually something I need to work into my routine. One thing I'm interested in, so obviously it doesn't matter in terms of this because we're trying to calm the body down and settle the body. one thing I have heard is that to improve flexibility, holding a stretch for more than 30 seconds is unnecessary. So after 30 seconds is the maximum time. So you could hold a stretch for 30 seconds or 5 minutes, and you won't improve flexibility.
And there's no difference.
No difference. But we're not trying to improve flexibility here, are we? We're trying to calm the body down and switch off. So basically, therefore, holding it for as long as you feel. That's interesting, man. I think 30 to 60 seconds is a good amount of time. But it was just an interesting thing that I've read a study on, which was for improved flexibility. So that's very different from what we're talking about, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We're talking here about let's chill out. Let's look to trigger recovery. That's the key thing here, and trigger a good night's sleep. Because if we're going to try and go to bed hawked up with cortisol and hormones elevated, you're going to wake up early, you're going to wake up stressed in the night, you're going to wake up more often, you're not going to get as good a quality night's sleep as you potentially could. That's interesting though. I've only ever had success, my personal self, holding a stretch longer. If I hold a stretch for 20-30 seconds.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I think 30 seconds should be your minimum, and I think obviously there's going to be no negative impact in holding a stretch for longer than 30 seconds. It was just interesting. This is a side note to the sleep, but it was just interesting to me that record showed there was no improved flexibility of holding a stretch longer. But I think the length of time, I would probably aim for about a minute, 30 seconds to a minute. But for what you're saying, we're just trying to calm the body down and stretch and relax, right? So you can just hold that stretch as long as you feel good.
Yeah, so if you're going to listen to me and what I'm saying here, I'm going to say between 8 and 10 minutes. And if I'm saying like 2 minutes per stretch, that could be 2 minutes on your left quad, 2 minutes on your right, 2 minutes left lat, 2 minutes right lat. If you want to take it more from sort of Chris's perspective, he would sort of go a minute ago. That could be 10 little stretches you do for a minute each sort of thing. So I think it could be important here and key for us to say, try it. If you get a better night's sleep from stretching, try it. What's the harm? What's the harm?
100%. Cool. Very, very good one. And I think that is something that anyone can put into any routine. You know, we all brush our teeth. Just once you brush your teeth, stretches into bed. Yeah. Great shout. What should we go number 2? I've got magnesium written down here on number 2. Something you take, isn't it? Yeah. So I take a ZMA tablet, which has magnesium in it. You take them separately, don't you?
I do take them separately. I've always been taught that minerals work in conjunction with other minerals. So like, say for example, zinc works with copper. Magnesium and calcium are very big. So the fact that our diets are, we're told we need calcium for our bones, we need calcium, you know what I mean? And we tend to eat a lot of products which are fortified with calcium, a lot of dairy, cheese, milk, all that sort of stuff. Chances are, if calcium's up, magnesium's down, and magnesium is so important. I hear this one. This is a funny one, actually. I hear this all the time. Magnesium is responsible for 300 enzymatic processes within the body. Now, break that down for me and everyone else. Can you tell me what that means? Because I see so many people say all the time in their posts, 300 enzymatic. I don't know what it means. If anyone is a chemistry buff out there, could you reach out to us and just explain it to us in terms that we understand? From my perspective, magnesium is very important for digestion and calming. I'm on magnesium right now. I'm taking magnesium morning and night. It's a small one. I think it's about a 300 milligram dose. I've never had any problems myself taking that morning and night. I find it keeps me calm, calms me down because obviously you know me. I'm quite probably the
excitable,
but a little bit excitable, should we say? So I take it in the morning to stay focused. Throughout the day, and it's worth mentioning that a more relaxed brain is going to be a more focused brain. And then in the evening, if you're taking magnesium to relax, brilliant. There's very, very few side effects for magnesium. We're sort of more looking at diarrhea, but
good for weight loss.
As far as sorry, say again.
I say good for weight loss.
Oh, absolutely good for weight. Depending where you read and who you pay attention to, you're looking at anywhere from sort of like 300 milligrams up to about 600 to 800 milligrams. Some countries suggest. And you can get these things you can get it from food. Like you can. I supplement with it as well as trying to get it from food, and we are gonna propose getting magnesium from food, but we could be controversial here. Actually, do you know one of the most nutrient-rich, magnesium-rich foods out there? Do you know what it is?
Go on.
Avocado.
So
the amount of people
eat more avocado.
Yeah, everyone that's reached out. Yeah. Everyone that's reached out to me, if you haven't listened to the avocado episodes in the archives, I don't remember which one it was. 3 unpopular opinions, wasn't it? Unpopular opinions. If you haven't heard unpopular opinions where we suggest that avocados aren't necessarily the best thing you should be consuming in bulk, well, they're packed full of magnesium here, so
in their portion controlled size,
100%. 100%. Me and Chris aren't here to tell you how to live your lives. We're just here to give you the facts and hopefully make you think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think you get about, in one avocado, you get about 100 milligrams of potassium, of magnesium. But there will be potassium in that. There will be fibers. There will be other nutrients, good quality fats. But there's other things you can get it in as well. Dark chocolate, I'm pretty sure for like 1 ounce of dark chocolate. Who eats 1 ounce? It's like 30 grams.
Yeah. Unless it's 100% dark chocolate, I'm eating in the bar.
100%. 100%.
What was it they said? There's like 70% dark chocolate was designed for those people who they like chocolate, but they can't, you can't eat a lot of it. Rubbish.
Yeah.
Rubbish. I could eat a whole bunch. Any chocolate bar, I'm good. Cool. So we've got tip number 2, magnesium before bed, and you're saying that you actually have it twice a day. So to calm you down in the morning and to calm you down in the evening before you go to sleep. Cool, yeah. And tip number 3.
Tip number 3. I've done a lot of talking. Do you want to lead on this one?
No. You go, mate. You go.
All right. Okay. So we're actually. I didn't want to say anything because I'm going to be preaching here almost. But let's limit our caffeine content. Let's pick a time. So the whole half-life of caffeine is very, very, very important here. Caffeine has a half-life in the body of 6 hours. So let's say right now at, what is it, like midday we're filming this. So it's midday now. I have a caffeine. Let's say I ingest 100 milligrams of caffeine. Right now at midday, 6 o'clock, there's still 50 milligrams in my system. Okay? So why would we be drinking these caffeine products at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, or even later, when caffeine is going to be high in your system, when you are trying to settle down, when you want to relax? So let's pick a time. Now we actually spoke about this ages ago. Do you remember we had this conversation and we were like, what should we be telling people? What was your time? You were telling people...
I recommended limiting caffeine intake after 2 o'clock. So 1 to 2 o'clock being kind of like... 2 o'clock being your cut-off point.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Because you were saying 2 and I was saying 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were sort of, we were backwards and forwards. We were like, but we need to be telling people a definitive answer. And I think we've got to the point now where we can disagree on this. So I think if you're saying 12, or you're saying 2, sorry, I'm saying 12, I think people need to start testing. And if 2 o'clock is okay for you and it's not going to interrupt your sleep, great, drink your caffeine products up till 2 o'clock. But I'm always telling people to 12 o'clock, let's try and keep them to the morning only and switch to decaf in the afternoon. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think as well, it depends how much caffeine you've had in the morning. So if you've had 2 cups already by 12 o'clock, having another cup at 12 o'clock and before 2, it's all just going to constantly be topping up. So you're actually going to get to a point almost where this, because of the 6-hour half-life, you never have no caffeine in your system. You're going to it's a bit like drinking, you keep topping those units up, you're going to be over the limit the day after, the night before kind of thing. So I think I would try and recommend maybe 2 cups of coffee a day, or like a pre-workout with no extra caffeine through coffee or something. But if I was setting it as a milligram target, let's say absolute most like 400 milligrams a day is what the body can take. So I would say 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine by 2 o'clock. And I would then try and switch to decaf if I was going to have coffee in the afternoon. If I was training after work and I was taking pre-workouts, then I would go for a stim-free pre-workout. I can't think of anything worse than going to the gym at 6, 7 o'clock after work, having a pre-workout, and then trying to go to bed. You'd just be staring at the ceiling. So there are stim-free pre-workouts out there. I would probably recommend switching to those after 2 o'clock.
You mentioned there 400 milligrams of caffeine. Have you ever been guilty of doing more in a day?
Oh, mate. So, I mean, I used to get up at 4:30 in the morning when I lived over in Wickham and get to the gym at 6. So I'd get up, have my coffee at home, get to the gym, have my double espresso at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I've already had, 3-4 coffees by then, or the equivalent of. I'd then have my pre-workout before training, which was probably about 200-300 milligrams. And because I was working in the evenings, I'd probably have another coffee around 5 o'clock. I mean, I could handle caffeine, but my sleep has always been terrible. Absolutely terrible. So, yeah, I think this is a do as I say, not as I do. My caffeine content now is very different because I'm not working the long hours I was on a gym floor, and I'm training early in the morning, so or kind of mid-morning. So, but yeah, I've been guilty of it. And I'll be honest with you, when you then try and go a week without caffeine, God, it hits you hard. Like the headaches, the crashes, the burns. And once you've kind of given it up for a week, then when you take it again, it actually has an effect. I think I got to the point where I was having so much caffeine that I had to have caffeine just to get back to zero. Does that make sense? I wasn't getting any sort of kick out of it. I was just feeling negative effects from having too much. So I think, again, it's probably a good recommendation to say, don't these stimulants, do be mindful of how many you're having a week anyway, even if you're having them before 2 o'clock.
Yeah, that's just a very good point. I've always been wary of pre-workout stimulants as a whole. As I was a younger man, I always never really understood the point of them. I'm supposed to be in the prime of my life. Why would I need stimulants to sort of hawk myself up?
Yeah, I agree. I find it very hard to train without caffeine. So I do like a black coffee before training. And maybe if I'm really knackered and I want a bit of a kick on like a leg day or a back day, which are kind of bigger muscle groups, I might take a pre-workout still. But yeah, I'm with you. If your food is in the right place, you shouldn't need. I mean, I think caffeine as well blocks your pain receptors, so I think it is quite good in a gym to have. For me, it's quite good to have some caffeine before, but it shouldn't be necessary. Shouldn't be relying on it.
Yeah, if you're relying on it, we've got problems.
Yeah. No, I think it's. And you say 12. That's kind of I mean, obviously that's going to be better. The earlier the cutoff, the better. I think I say 2 just because people have their lunch break at 12 and 12:01. Some people want a coffee at lunch. So, like Ben says, try it, see what time works for you. And if you're not sleeping well, just try and bring the time forward a little bit, or cut down on the amount of caffeine you're having before that time period.
Yeah, I think that's important for this. Is Chris and I have the same message. We've just got different approaches to it. So, yeah, I'm going to tell you earlier, what we're basically both saying to you is be mindful of it, what you're taking in, when you're taking it in, and if it's affecting you negatively, tweak it, try it, make some changes.
100%. I will say one thing on sleep. So I've always told my clients they need to be getting 6 to 8 hours sleep a night. Then about a year and a half ago, this little kid moved in with us, and he's now living here. And it's impossible. If I get like 4 hours unbroken sleep at the moment, I'm really happy. So,
are you going to keep him?
I think we got him now. I think you only get a year, and then the refund's gone. So, no, I love him, but God, like you go to bed, just head hits the pillow, waiting to hear him kick off. So I think. Although optimally, I would say you want to get like 6 to 8 hours sleep in a night. For all those parents out there, I apologise. That was obviously very unrealistic of me. You probably turned away and just laughed as you walked out of the gym. You have to kind of get as much sleep in as you can. And now I'm actually a big fan of napping in the afternoon if I can. I'm very lucky. I work from home, so I can kind of put it into my day. But yeah, I think I would just like to apologise to those people that I said 6 to 8 is very important.
It's funny actually. A friend of mine, Ben Rickwood, he keeps posting at the moment about about trainers telling you need to get 8 hours sleep a night, and it's me. I feel like he's directly taking jabs at me. It entertains me, but he is right. The amount of people who I get people to track their sleep. When you track it down, look at an average over the week. It does, from a coaching perspective, make me realise we need to be looking at the quality of sleep, not just the quantity, because the majority of people aren't getting 8 hours. I think 6 to 7 seems to be the sort of the consistent one. So if you can implement even a couple of those three things that we're suggesting, I think it's going to be. I mean, there's 1,000 more tips we can give you. I mean, myself, I have blackout blinds, blackout curtains. I still sleep with a mask and earplugs. Right.
Yeah. So you've literally shut. See, I'm also the opposite. Like I like to, when I fall asleep, I like a bit of noise. I find it very hard to fall asleep in pitch black with nothing going on. My mind just goes 100 miles an hour. So actually, I need to listen to something. It's probably going to be something I've watched 100 times already, so I'm not actually interested in it. But again, that's terrible. That's terrible advice, because you should be sleeping in a completely blacked out room and falling asleep. But for me, that's never worked. One little tip for dads out there as well, or mums, was Faye hates noise. So when we had Leo, we came up with a kind of compromise that I would put my AirPods in, listen to something with my AirPods in, full sleep. Absolutely unbelievable when the kid wakes up and you can't hear a thing because of these noise cancelling things. It's never your turn, because it's cruel to wake someone else up. So Faye, I think 3 weeks in a row, kept waking up and going into Leo. She's like, how do you not hear anything? And I'm there, I don't know. Noise cancelling headphones. Honestly, for any parent out there, just try and do it when the other one doesn't notice. Brilliant. But terrible advice.
Hero for it, mate. You're winning them all.
terrible advice. Blackout is definitely the way to go if you can, right?
Yeah, it's the win for me. It revolutionised the way I sleep. I was always the broken sleeper. 45 minutes, really light, and then suddenly earplugs, eye mask, and I noticed it on. I was on a flight once, and I think I slept for about 9 hours, and I could never sleep on flights, and I was out of it, just completely gone. And from then on, got home, I was like, right, let's try it again. 8 hours solid, unbroken.
And you sleep well now, don't you? I know you. I mean, if you're not waking up by a text from me, you'll still be in bed at about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, on Sunday, definitely.
I think there's, I think my recommendation would be like trying to get 7 to 8 hours sleep in if you can. Unbroken is obviously going to be the best. If you aren't getting that, maybe you can try and get a nap in somewhere, but it's not going to be high quality sleep. So that's just going to be something to maybe aid your recovery a little bit more. What sort of time frame would you say and suggest to your clients?
The ideal worlds, I mean, the body works in like 45-minute sleep cycles, doesn't it? So ideal world, you need to be getting either 8.25 or 7 hours 30 or 6:45, or we go up from 8.25 hours of sleep up to 9 hours.
But I would pay so much money to get 9 hours uninterrupted sleep. I would throw everything I've got at that just for 2 nights in a row.
Yeah. Unfortunately, knowing what you were like, your son is going to be just as bad. So even when he hits 18, you're even worse. You're going to get phone calls in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I'm in jail. I've set myself on fire.
Yeah, it's literally a game changer. I've just accepted it. Sleep, like this is your expertise, mate, not mine anymore. And to be honest, I have always had terrible sleep. Like I said, high caffeine content all through the day. Working long hours, so I think another one, like I would always try and say to anyone, try and switch off from your work like an hour or two before bed, because I think if you're working right up to bedtime, again, you're not going to have a good night's sleep. One thing I like to do, and actually the best night's sleep I did have before having Leo, I used to do a to-do list. So every night I'd get into bed, had my little pad of paper and pen next to me. I'd sit there, I'd write my to-do list, everything that was in my head. I could just get it out onto a piece of paper. Because you go to bed like worrying about, I've got to do this tomorrow, what if I forget what we'll do this? If you get it all down on paper and out of your head, you're completely clear then to have to switch off. So that actually is probably like one little tip from me was writing a big to-do list of everything you can think of for the next day allows you to switch off. You know it's going to get done then. Or if you're like me, you're going to leave on your to-do list for the day after. But it's out of your head. And I think that is a key.
Yeah. Mind dump onto paper so you can see exactly what you've got to do in the future.
Yeah. Anything that gets things out of your head and down is a good one.
Yeah, I just want to come back to it because you do mention there, you say it's probably my domain, something sleep and recovery. It's probably not. It's probably the opposite because I'm sitting over here, childless, having great night's sleeps. You're living it. You're living the real world. So you can give people actual practical application of, right, this is how to do this and not to do this. And I can just sit over here preaching saying, well, if life's perfect.
No, but that's actually two good points. If you're in a perfect position to set up your life around, not your life, but set up around your sleep, then do it. Obviously, because sleep is so important. Sleep aids recovery, so it improves your athletic performance. It's good for your immune system. There's lower chance of heart disease and diabetes if you get a good night's sleep. Probably as well because you're not going to be craving sugary things and eating a bad diet. Like cravings do go down the better your sleep the night before. There's many benefits to get it. So if you can set yourself around the optimum hours of sleep, and then what I'd say as a parent is prioritize your sleep. If your baby's going to bed at 7 and you're going to bed at 11, then there's quite a few hours there where you can maybe adjust your plan and bring your sleep forwards. So I actually now try and go to bed about 9 o'clock, which is as early. I've tried it earlier and I just lie there. So 9 o'clock, my alarm goes off at 6. I know I can get my sleep in if he doesn't wake up. And I think when he was young, when he was really little and he was having naps, when he was reliably having 2 naps a day, if I was feeling knackered and I had the time, nap when he naps. So that's been my routine as much as I can around him. But again, parents know kids don't have routines for very long. They figure you out, and just when you think you cracked them, they change everything they're doing. So yeah, I'd say prioritize sleep, but obviously don't ignore your kid if he's crying.
I've had working with a few mums recently, new mums, and there's almost like a sense of guilt if they were to sleep when the baby's sleeping. They feel like they should be doing stuff, cleaning, tidying, prepping meals, prepping stuff like that. And this is the one thing I want to try and get through to people is that if you are better rested, you're going to have more energy for when you are awake. So if you're thinking burning that candle at both ends is stupid. What we said a few episodes back of it's very cool to be drinking takeaways, living an unhealthy lifestyle. Well, let's change that stigma around and let's make it cool to be more rested, put you first and actually take control and actually, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get it across. I'm saying that very well.
100%. I think that's a very good point. Prioritize the things that matter for your health over the things that are going to be detrimental.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. Should we try and wrap that up? Because we said we were going to try and do 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I think we've just approached 45.
Yeah, summary. So I think the summary of this episode is tip number 1, stretch before bed. Try and get a routine of around about 8 to 10 minutes. Tip number 2, magnesium will aid your sleep and help you calm down before bed and switch off. And tip number 3 was cutting your caffeine out from around about 12 to 2 p.m.
You see, guys, this is what happens if you don't sleep. Your memory suffers.
Yeah, no sleep and having kids. Baby brain. But yeah, I think...
We should just preface though, we are suggesting magnesium. Nor Chris nor myself are medically trained, so this is purely just simple our advice.
Yeah, no one has to take supplements. That is completely your call.
No.
But look into it. If it's something that you struggle with,
they work wonders for me.
Look into it. Cool. Good episode that, I think, mate. Hopefully we'll help a few people. Prioritise your sleep.
So. And again, let's just Sorry, mate, I cut you off again.
No. I just said try and prioritize your sleep and get yourself like little pre-bed routines. These are 3 habits, but try and change 2 or 3 habits you do just before bed that will help you aid your sleep.
Fantastic. And I suppose let's just say a big thank you again to everyone who did like, listen, comment, shared to the last episode, because I didn't think anyone would bother listening.
No, thank you very much. And yeah, keep listening, keep giving feedback, and keep asking questions based on what you hear. I think is a good one. Any comments you do get, drop down in the comment section on here.
Heck cool. Yeah, I'm off to make another coffee because it's not 1 o'clock yet.
All right, mate. Peace. Speak to you soon.
See you later, man. Love you, man.